Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you Game 3 in a series between Evil Genius's Idra versus Evil Genius's Puma here on Shakura's Plateau. Idra spawning as the red Zerg on the top right hand side of the map, meanwhile Puma spawning on the bottom left hand side of the map as the blue Terran. Now in the previous games so far from what we've seen, Puma and Idra have really played a very macro intensive style of game. Now, normally, I would say that would bode well for Puma, but Puma is going up against Idra, perhaps one of the best macro-style Zerg players out there. Normally, he gets into that 28 over 28 food faster than Puma can get into that 20 food count. And that really hurts him in the long run. We'll see if Puma will be able to execute a little bit more harassment. I would definitely like to see more harassment come into play from Puma this time around, as Idra has pretty much been able to play his own style and without having to worry about drone counts and being able to just fend off attacks left and right. Now, Puma is the blue Terran on the bottom left. He has built a front door supply depot, will be building up a barracks in just a moment. Barracks do take a little bit longer to build now, and we'll see if Puma will be going into that early refinery, that standard 13 refinery that most Terran players do like to go for. Meanwhile, I believe Idra, there's the refinery, Idra will be going for that 15 hatchery. There you see the hatchery, or the drone, already making its way down in order to grow up and be a hatchery. You can see the timing is almost absolutely perfect here, as Idra will be able to fend off any early aggression if there was any sort of 2 racks pressure. However, the drone is now going to start to make its way out and do a little bit of scouting. It will be able to come up here, spot the barracks. A supply depot should be added in just a moment now. We're just waiting for the supply depot, and there is the upgrade to the orbital command. No supply depot just quite yet, but Puma should be able to get up a marine, and this drone will pretty much be denied any more scouting information. So this is exactly what the drone needs to do now. The drone now going to come down over here, perhaps look to see if there are any barracks down over here. Doesn't spot it. So he does feel pretty safe, and he's going to try to come up that ramp, but that drone is going to end up turning at the wrong point. The drone now trying to make its way in. Will the supply depot raise up in time? Yes, it does. The drone does get taken down, and now Puma, and we'll see what he transitioned into. He is now going into a factory, so it is going to be an earlier factory, and perhaps going into another refinery in just a moment. Normally, Terran players, if they're going into Banshees, will be placing down this refinery now. Otherwise, he could be going into Hellions in order to try to put a little bit more pressure. But I believe Idra will be able to get up a spine crawler right here and fend off the attack. He is going into that double food or double queen production already. Like I mentioned earlier, 25 over 28. He'll soon be able to get into 28 over 28. What happened here? It looks like, a couple of Zerglings were, or a couple of units of Zerglings were taken down over here. The Zerglings are now going after the Marines. It looks like the Zergling will be able to take down the Marine, and nicely done by Idra, using 4 Zerglings, only losing one of them to destroy an SCV, a Marine, and cancel a bunker. You can see now double training Hellions off of the factory. This should work out well. We are also going into a tech lab, but if Puma does not get the necessary, or does not get the early kills that he needs right now, Puma is going to definitely have a hill to climb. As you can see, that queen, a second queen should, or a third queen should be added in just a moment. Spawn larva going to continue. And pretty much Idra is going to have a license to drone as those Zerglings are trying to battle against those Hellions. One poor Zergling not going to make it through, as Puma now should be able to get into 4 Hellions rather quickly. There's that spine crawler that I mentioned. There's another queen. We are getting 2 additional Zerglings as well, and some more drones. The Hellions are trying to make their way across the map, but it is going to buy some time for that spine crawler to finish. Spine crawler now about 10 seconds away from being completed. Those Hellions are not going to be able to book it up that ramp at all, especially with a second queen joining that fight and Zerglings on the ramp. It will be able to intercept it and deal some damage back, as the Hellions going to try to push their way in. There's the spine crawler, long technical reach, getting in one impale on that Hellion, and the Hellion pretty much has to stay where it is. There was already a transition back into training of Marines and also training some siege tanks. So this is exactly what Puma needs to do. He didn't overly invest into these Hellions. He just tried to keep Idra honest a little bit. Taking a look at the harvester count, it is 35 to 26. Not good news for Puma at all. But he does have that orbital command. He will be able to call in an extra mule as he makes his way into this location here. And it should even up the count just a little bit. But losing one Hellion pretty needlessly. Losing both Hellions very needlessly there. The Hellion just blowing up into hundreds of parts. And now Marines and a siege tank sitting on the ramp. Will it be enough to defend is the key question, as more Marines are still being added. Combat shield now being added. No stim as of yet. And siege tech has not even been started. Zergling's going to walk up that ramp, quickly get blasted by 2 to 3 shots, deciding to run back once more. A bunker does need to be established, or some sort of wall off to limit the amount of swarming capabilities that the Zerglings are going to be able to do. Siege tanks should be going into siege mode in just about another 70 seconds or so, as the Queens are starting to establish that creep highway. Idra very strong on his timing. Puma at 54 over 54 perhaps needs a little bit more practice, as Idra, as he starts to establish more and more of these creep tumors, roaches, zerglings, and banelings are going to be able to reach their targets much more quickly. Spire now being constructed as well. It looks as though Idra already mining off of a lot of 4 extractors right now. So 4 extractors in about 90 or 80 seconds should allow him to get about 5 to 6, maybe 600 gas for a total of about 10 Mutalisks. Zergling's now going to be coming around that far side, trying to run inside, and it looks like the Marines are not going to be able to fend off the attack. Poor supply depot. This ramp is so wide, as the Zerglings are just going to be able to run rampant through this base. This is not what you want to see, as the SCVs are now going to try to do a nice pickup. Puma saving up all of his SCVs right there. One SCV will get taken down, as this SCV may get taken down as well, but now in comes a really strong push. The siege tanks do have siege tech, but will they be able to break up that ramp is the key question. Zerglings now desperately trying to run back. They're going to run straight into a group of Marines and tanks there. And the siege tanks and Marines, realizing that they cannot continue that pressure, forced to back off. There is still one Zergling in this group. Not quite sure. There it goes. Finally gets cleaned up by Puma. Siege tanks ready to roll out once more. Zerglings on the high ground. Zerglings on the low ground, ready to put forth that pressure, as another hatchery is being established by Idra. Idra is going to be forced to pull back just a little bit, but he does have a decent amount of map sight and map control just because of these Zelnaga towers. Spoke a little bit too soon, as he did lose them just now. But the Marines, more importantly, do not have stim. Without stim, they're not going to be able to counter those Mutalisks nearly as well. The Marines are going to destroy those creep tumors very easily. And there goes another. Not quite sure how that was. Oh, a reveal. A scanner sweep over here did reveal it just down over here, as the Zerglings and Banelings trying to find themselves in. Oh, the Mutalisks able to get off one easy shot. Those Marines need to be close by, otherwise those siege tanks are just sitting ducks. But then again, the Zerglings will be able to swarm in as well. The Marines trying to patrol. Mutalisks are perhaps going to try to flank in from behind, perhaps catching some of those units that are in transition. The Mutalisks are going after those Marines. Marines are now trying to squeeze away. Excuse me. Squeeze away from each other. Yeah, my sneezes come in twos. So, yeah, Mutalisks are now back over here. It looks like the Mutalisks may go after those Marines. There are more Zerglings now, and Idra buying a lot of time. Harvester count up to 54. Perhaps training up another Queen down here, and then going to be able to saturate that in just a few seconds. Now, medevac play not going to work out all too well unless he's able to slip by those Mutalisks. Mutalisks doing such a good job just denying any sort of medevac drops, as those Mutalisks move faster than a medevac, and also move faster than a medevac, and also are able to just deal so much damage when they're in a group like that. The Marines do not unload fast enough, as we now see about 12 Mutalisks on the move in order to put down even more pressure. We are going into burrow, so Banelings are going to become landmines in just a moment. And Baneling landmines may destroy Puma's units in transit, which is always very painful. One Baneling with level 2 weapons upgrade dealing 43 damage. Mutalisks now trying to push in. There is only one missile turret. Marines are over here and able to get off a little bit of damage. I think if he had continued to chase, that would actually have been a little bit better for him. as he could have perhaps taken down 1, perhaps even 2 Mutalisks if he had gotten lucky. Level 1 weapons upgrade about to complete. Siege tanks still being added, and now Puma going into a 3rd orbital command, but this is still more of a catch-up maneuver as siege tanks and marines are still trying to push out. You can see banelings down over here, and taking 1 baneling blast, not a good sign, as the Mutalisks are trying to flank in from the north once again. The Marines trying to get in position. Perhaps some missile turrets, some auto-sec tracking on a missile turret would help him out, as the siege tanks, the siege tanks medevacs getting destroyed there, and the Marines really having nowhere to go and nowhere to truly run. The siege tanks, perhaps the Marines should be up on the high ground, siege tanks on the low ground, so that the Marines can offer cover fire a little bit better. The siege tanks up on that high ground also prevent any Zerglings from being able to swarm in as well, so that may work out better, as we now see Zerglings moving into the center portion of the field. Another hatchery being established by Idra, so Idra staying on top of his macro and trying to make sure that he doesn't fall behind on bases. This low ground, the supply depots are not going to be raised up in time, and Puma making a critical mistake at the wrong time, trying to move out, and Idra was almost able to sneak by and get in a little bit of damage, almost taking down a siege tank. We should be upgrading to a planetary fortress here, and this is exactly what Puma needs. Puma's actually in a decent position, except for that Idra has 175 food, 176 compared to Puma's 143. This siege tank most likely will get destroyed this time around. Yes, quickly getting taken down here. Marines, Mutalisks battling it out over here. A quick baneling burst taking down multiple Marines. And yes, multiple Marines just getting absolutely melted in just a quick second there, as those Mutalisks are now being able to finish off units pretty easily. The planetary fortress doesn't offer any cover fire for those siege tanks, so missile turrets may get destroyed one at a time. It looks like it will get destroyed. Another missile turret trying to be reestablished and rebuilt, but this is not looking good. The siege tanks can get destroyed, and Puma in a very defensive position, not able to push this attack back. Finally getting that planetary fortress repaired, perhaps getting the siege tanks, and all of these units need to continue mining, otherwise this place will fall in just a moment. 1 siege tank down to 28 hit points. It does have a decent number of kills. More SCVs trying to be trained in order to get back into this, but Puma now at half the food of Idra, as Idra has almost reached critical mass with these Mutalisks. Just buy time with the Mutalisks, take down units, be everywhere you want to be at the same time. With fast-moving units such as this, it looks like he will be able to destroy. Zerglings are now trying to swarm in as well. The Marines are going to finally get in there, but after the orbital command does get destroyed. Marines are upgraded 1-1. Mutalisks are upgraded 1-0. They are finally backing off. More Marines being added as the Mutalisks using the refinery as a little bit of a damage dealer. That's one of the benefits of the Mutalisks. The Mutalisks can attack a building, and then the chain can actually go past a range of 3, and that allows a Mutalisk to essentially start dealing damage to those Marines while those Marines are unable to fight back or not within combat range just quite yet. Mutalisks now coming in, finishing off more supply depots. Marines are getting unloaded. It looks like it's going to be another pressure or another counter of these Marines, but the Marines are only upgraded 1-1. Where is that second engineering bay? Back over here. It has not been destroyed, as the Mutalisks are now pushing pressure at the natural or at this low ground expansion as well. Perhaps they'll be able to get some easy damage onto the planetary fortress. SCVs once again trying to go back to mining, but Idra right now just macroing up, utilizing this Mutalisk ball very, very well, keeping it alive, and keeping it constantly alive. Also macroing up more units back at home. He's not sitting on that many resources, even though he's running off of 4 bases, soon to be 5. Puma finally coming in with a bit of a counterattack of his own, moving in with a decent number of Marines. The drones are going to be doing some mining. That spine crawler just a little bit too far away, as the Mutalisks are now going to be able to swarm in, and there you go. Mutalisks completely destroying that drop attempt there. Zerglings and banelings in the center portion, and it looks like Puma is going to be in trouble. I'm not quite sure what Puma can do right now. Idra needs to make a mistake in order for Puma to get back into this, Puma needs to get some amazing drops in. Puma is so far behind, 33 SCVs compared to 82 drones, but still playing it out. Planetary Fortress quickly destroyed. Banelings trying to make their way in. Banelings destroying a lot of SCVs and a lot of of Marines as well, and it looks like Puma quickly losing his planetary fortress and his third base. Zerglings now attempting to swarm into the natural expansion here, but very limited minerals. All it would take is one very lucky Baneling or two very lucky Banelings to destroy about 20 more SCVs as the Banelings roll on in. In comes a Thor. The Thor does get one round attack off, but Puma does say GG, losing to 3 straight games to Idra. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this 3-game series between Puma and Idra here on Shakuros Plateau.